Hey everybody, Jonathan Broadbent here on Friday, November 3rd, 5 o'clock on the nose. I have hit 5 o'clock on the button most days, except for that one day I got tied up on a Twitter space that lasted about 3 hours. I don't know about you, but I'm a big fan of this platform called Substack. You can find me on there and you can find a bunch of other great people. I started following somebody recently who has had a major impact on me. I've been reading this person's Substacks. Actually, I'm going to go on Substack later and I'll share out some of the musings of this other individual. But I read something from this other writer earlier today that was like spot on. I think I was meant to read it. It just seemed like me writing to myself. And it was all about how this person is grappling with really, really complex matter and trying to turn it into one or two or maybe three or short series of Substacks. But there's so much to it. It's like, how do you make it a meaningful, bite sized thing? My approach, because I'm facing the same thing with the world of finance. Finance has gone woke, and there is so much to it. When you get into the different types of investments, investment vehicles, the deliverables, Wall Street's influence, global corporations, and the influence of things like corporate equity index, correct, CEI, how the influence is exerted in power and control and cash flow. It's just, there's a lot to it. Oh, and one critical key piece that I think everybody's missing so far, but I eventually want to spend a lot of time highlighting, and that's proxy voting. So if you know about investing, you know the importance of proxy voting. And little do most people know, there are three main big companies out there that do the proxy voting for pooled investments like mutual funds. And in my book, they all lean very heavily left. So when it comes to anything that might have some political implications, that proxy voting just continues to just migrate everything into further and further left types of communism. Housekeeping question. For anybody that is so inclined to send a response or email me, I have been working on the list of platforms onto which this daily podcast, this daily live stream gets copied. So I am actually two steps much closer now to being able to just live stream and actually get comments during the live stream, which is my objective, to have this interactive. But I took a look at the platforms that I typically use for various different purposes, and I boiled it down to Rumble, Truth, Gab, Liberty Centric, which I think is poised to probably be one of my favorites. Rumble, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Locals, and Substack. So in the, I think Getter, I do have some fans of Getter. I'm going to add that one to the list as well. So if there's a platform that you think is really relevant and we're going to find some like-minded people or at least people that are awake and aware, let me know. I want to consider adding as many platforms as possible so we can continue to get the message out. But here's the deal. I have in my hot little hands here my first of what's bound to be a series of notices from regulators that as we approach the end of the year, I'm going to have to cough up a whole bunch more money, as I do every year, for all my licensure to maintain my business. And if you followed any of the weaponized regulator series, you may know that my company has been under attack by weaponized regulators since March of 2022. Here's a snapshot view of what that looks like. In March of 2022, a small group of us got virtually identical letters from different regulatory agencies. I work in finance. There's somebody that works in psychology. There's somebody that works in construction. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we're challenging the left's narrative on issues like masking kids and mandated shots and ESG and finance. You name it. We're not kowtowing to the left. And we got these letters alerting us that we are under examination. Now, I didn't have complaints attached to mine, but two of the other two did, and they're mythical complaints. These are people that have once been in business for 36 years without a complaint, and all of a sudden there's an anonymous, not one, but two complaints that showed up, and the other one has complaints. And for some bizarre reason, their regulators are not disclosing the the person or people that filed the complaint. So it's like, well, we got this complaint and it's anonymous, so we're going to delve into everything. In my case, they've gone back 10 years, 10-year span of my business and examined everything you can think of. It's a fishing expedition, and I've called them on it. And I've told them they have no such right to dig into anything and everything. And in the interest of protecting my clients, I've told regulators, you can have whatever you want about my company, but I am not releasing all this exhaustive, detailed information on the clients that I serve. I'm not here to pony up and divvy up and play spy for regulatory three-letter agencies. I don't like you, I don't trust you, and I don't trust that you have anyone's best interests in mind other than um, hurting my company. So one of the objectives, I'm going to pay this. First of all, the at the end of last year, if you followed through and saw the videos and everything, my regulators actually did succeed in shutting me down. They shut down my business for a brief period of time because, follow this goofy logic, at the end of last year, 2022, I got all these notices and I went online to the goofy website and filled out all these things and figured out which states and what fees and all that stuff. And I overpaid. It's my customary habit. I estimate a little extra in there and I overpay. Last year, my overpayment led to a cancellation notice and I was shut down from doing business until I created a correction to that, which actually, in this bizarre world and the timing of payments, it's unfathomable. It'll sound weird, and it is. I had to pay additional, up above and beyond the extra that I'd already paid. Then I had to issue a notice requesting a distribution of the overpayment, and that eventually, and that legal process got me back in business again. My point is, one of my objectives this year is by July 4th, 2024, next year, I plan on being unregistered. I want to take all these sheets of paper and all these regulatory notices. Oh, it blocks it out because it's green. I didn't even notice that. It's the same green as my green screen behind me. You can't see it, but there's a sheet of paper that I'm holding up that comes in the color green. But the plan is to shut all that down because I know for a fact that regulators do not want me and people like me to be able to do the things that we're doing to fight back against the woke left. So stay tuned on that front. On all fronts, there's a lot to do here. There's a lot of complexity. The reason I'm doing these series of short little bursts, I hope you tune in, skip through, play it at high speed or whatever, double the speed or something. But over time, especially people that work in finance, I'd love to get a whole series of breadcrumbs out there and information about how we're going to go on woke and the key points of it, and how to build portfolios, how to manage portfolios, how to communicate with your financial advisor, your financial institution, and how to make the request that they take you on woke. We have to defund the woke. We're giving our money to far left managers and Wall Street globalist types of companies that clearly have no interest in our best interests. Defund the woke. Thanks for listening. Happy Friday, and I hope you have a great weekend.